All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Builder Dealy. I'm your host, Guy, who does build, and I gotta read at this. I don't even know what I'm looking at yet. Posture check. Oh, my posture's terrible. All you need to keep a single fighter Shadarkai chain offhand versatility. Give me Artie for the past life. Oh, you just want chains. Oh, I see. Are you a spellcasty man? Spellcastaman? Why don't you just play a Vistani? Like, that's what I would do. I would just do Vistani, 100%. Your messages are highlighted, it's true. Anyway. Okay. No notes. Okay, so what do you want us to what do you want this to do? You just want this to level good and be strong? If you want this to just level good and be strong, I can get that taken care of. No problem. And spell crit. Are you playing this at level cap, or are you not playing this at level cap? Throw spells. Okay. Well, you need more artificer levels, because you can't take all of the spells that you need. Right? So main problem here is that you only have Tactical D and Chain Lightning, which means you don't have Arcane Tempest, which is the best spell that you get. So if you want to be a spell guy, you should have Arcane Tempest in here, which means you need more Artificer, which means you need to dump more of these things. So what we'll probably do here... and yeah, okay. When did we get Artificer spell levels? I need to look up Artificer, please. Artificer, please. Classes. Artificer. 16, 17. Oh, you don't get the extra spell slot until 19? What is this drought? 2223? Oh my god. Also, what's up, Nimbin? How are you doing? You have free real estate? Okay, let's take a look at the feats here. Let's take a look at the feats. Let's take a look at the feats. So what do we got here? You take 2 levels of fighter. And so you can also take what? If I was to cut out 2 levels of fighter, what am I cutting? Empower? I'm cutting Empower for sure. And Empower Heal? I'm cutting both of those things. So if you cut out 2 levels of fighter and 1 level of rogue, you become a 19 RD1 rogue, which makes your character significantly stronger at the spellcasting element of this. And it cuts out the fighter levels, which changes up your base attack bonus as to when you get feats. But not by that much, oddly enough, because you're still going to get the extra base attack bonus here. Yeah, you lose 1 base attack bonus here, but you still get the rest of it. Or at least you run more rogue levels for sneak attack dice. He's doing great, and you're making him blush. Aww. What a nice young man. I see him streaming every once in a while. Sometimes I'm like, I'll just pop in and do a raid. But then either it's the stream is almost over before I can. And it sucks. So sometimes I will. Also, I've been streaming later for some reason recently. Yeah, you really want this, by the way. You want runic efficiency if you want to do the casty thing. So we're going to go probably 19-1. Because you don't need the Capstone Arcane Empowerment. It's really good, but you don't need this. And you can keep the Vistani one with the blades, and you can keep the Know the Angles. Although, oddly enough, you actually don't need Strategic Combat because you cast a spell to avoid that. Evasion to survive close combat. Okay. Well. So you want to have good melee damage. And you want to do spellcasting with DPS, but you don't want to give up on evasion. I mean, that's probably fine. Kenneth crafted bound items. Are they bound to character? Or, sorry, bound to account. They're bound to account. If you're casting or you're doing the spell crit thing, yeah. So I think what we're going to be doing here is we are dropping the fighter. Oh, that was a good moment for me. If you haven't seen it, as an exclamation point, Rip Vaughn. We're going to be dropping the fighter, going to rogue. And where this is going to brick the feats, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. Ignore the bricked feats. Okay, so you definitely do not need Empower. So we can shove some of the stuff later. You start at 15, which is fine. So we're going to cull Empower entirely. Don't worry about it. Because Empower is not that good in comparison to some of this other stuff. We're going to grab... Wait, not this one. Quicken spell. We're going to move this one down. I'm going to move Quicken here. Trying to make sure I'm maximizing the feats properly. So we're going to replace Maximize with Past Life Wizard. I'm basically trying to fit everything in. So we're going to put Past Life Wizard here, which then, because you have 6 base attack bonus, means you can then put Improved Single Weapon Fighting here, which means you can then put Improved Critical here. Because remember, this character starts at 15. We're still taking Improved Critical. And we're taking Greater... It's 10? So you put Greater here. Oh, no. Which means you put Empower back here. You still have Heighten, you still have Quicken, you don't have Maximize still. I gotta put Maximize back. Oh, Maximize goes here. You go Maximize here. And then you've got Greater here, and there's an Artificer bonus spell. No, it's not an Artificer spell list. It can be any spell you want. Which would end up being... I guess it would just be Spell Focus Evocation, because you only need Spell Focus Evocation. So, oh wait, hold on. Oh, Improved Critical counts in this list, but Spell Focus Evocation doesn't, so that's actually fine. That's fine, we're good. Do you know if 110 Intimate is for enough for... Yeah, it is. It is. Offhand Versatility, it's here still. So you're still taking that. No. Wellspring is fine. It's perfect single weapon fighting. Master of Artifice. I don't think Master of Artifice is a good feat for the most part, because you're probably not going to be using Blast Rod that much. You're probably just going to be using Chain Lightning, because you want to be attacking, right? So, because you need to be attacking to get your procs off. So, you're probably not going to be using Blast Rod or Lightning Modes very much. So, you probably don't need this. Like, you'll use these while leveling, but once you get Chain Lightning, you're probably only going to cast Chain Lightning for the most part. And Tactical D, which means you get an extra feat here. And since you get an extra feat, you have a lot of things you could take. You already took Intensify and Embolden. A feat that I think is really good for this type of character would probably be Burst of Glacial Wrath, because this allows you to crowd control monsters and make them helpless. Your character can't make monsters helpless any other way. Artificers do not have anything that does helpless. Spell Power Electric, that's fine. Double Strike might also work well, but Arcane Warrior is great. Intensify is good. Sign of Plane of Air is good. These are all good effects and abilities. You might think that because I cut out the electric stuff that you don't want Sign of Plane of Air. Again, the best electric spell Artificers get is not Tactical D, Chain Lightning is the best one. You still want to use Lightning Motes because it makes it so monsters take extra damage from electric. And no, this is not too helpless. It's just a knockdown. But what you need is you no longer need Lightning Bolt because you're in melee range anyway, so Lightning Bolt's only good for downrange. You want Insightful Damage, which means you don't need to take the Insightful damage out of Harbor Agent. Also, everybody needs to have Fox's Cunning because it makes you cunning as a fox, and you need a Blade of Armor because it's a blade. And Cold Iron's not bad, although also Globe. These are both good effects. And Radiant Force Field is a sick self cooldown, by the way. Or you can put this on somebody else in case they're dying. So both are good. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So, I respect your entire Arcano Technician tree, basically. I also got 2 points back on the Strategic or Harper Agent, because you don't need that there. You're still going to keep probably most of this, but you don't need any of that stuff. Also, Energy of Creation is fine, but you want probably the Spell Crit. The Imbue Defender is surprisingly good, because this is electric spell power, and spell power is very nice. You also want Quicken. Does Artificer seriously not get Maximize? Or is that actually here? Hold on, I'm looking this up. Would it be, yo, what's up, Birtle? How you doing? We're looking at Artificer. Please don't tell me it's just those two. Wow, what a bunch of baloney, dude. That sucks. Oh, wrong button. That's what I wanted. unbelievable. I'm actually shocked. I did put Empower back in, but that blows. Anyway, also, I don't recommend taking the crit here for a bunch of reasons. One of the reasons why you don't take the crit on this build is you have an ability that makes you automatically crit when you melee stuff. So you don't really need as much crit because you can auto crit for free all the time. So you're going to grab the Intelligence. You're going to grab Arcane Engine, which gives you spell power when you summon your Iron Defender. You're not going to do that. What you're going to do is have an Iron Defender. And then the Iron Defender is going to give you these stats. So it's just going to passively give you 21 electric spell power and 21. So it's 42 electric spell power. Also, got to grab the cores here because you have all the electric spell power because each point you spend in the tree gives you more spell power. And then you want to grab the stuff at the top here. The Master Defender is okay, but you don't really need this. Charged Recoil strips immunity of electric. That's essential. Plus 3 evocation DCs is insane. And the spell power here is fantastic. Where do I peel 3 points to get that? I personally don't think Assassin's Mark is that good. That's 1 point. This is 2-pointer. Oof. Yeah, Thaumaturgical Conduits is not great. So the problem is, as a melee, you want to have the infused weapons. You get a stable charge tier. But you don't have that. Because the problem is, you can get some of these things. Like if you strip Intelligence and Intelligence here, what you can get is you can get... The first thing, you can have Infused Weapons, which gives you stable charge tier 2, and you get the extra spell power. The problem is you lose 2 intelligence. So this is 35 electric, which is very, very good. And the stable charge tier 2 means you can actually use your rune arm way more often because it'll stably charge up to tier 2 versus at tier 1, it means that when you run around, you only have tier 1 charge, which means your damage is basically negligible. But for this one, you can stand still for like a second. It gets up to at least tier 3 or 4 and then shoot it out and you get a bunch of damage. If you're somebody who moves around a lot, you probably won't use any of this at all. And you could probably drop these 2 points back and still grab that intelligence back. Also, 1 point for 5% double strike is really sick. But, you know, it's entirely up to you. But this is probably what I would say. If you don't like the infused weapon bit here, just put back in the intelligence, either in Vistani or in Harper or wherever you want. But this gives you way more points in Arcano Technician. Oh, I forgot Shocking Vulnerability. Did I put that in? This effect is horrific. That gets 6 points back. This point is horrible. So... It has a 5% chance to apply a D3 stacks, which means that if you cast 20 spells, one of those spells will apply a D3 stack, which means you can't stack vulnerability. So that's not good. So don't do this, ever. So let me catch you doing that. So then you have enough for 5% extra double strike. Wow. Also, if you're going to put intelligence anywhere, put it in Arcanotech, because the more points you spend in Arcanotech gives you more spell power. You know even how to use the rune arm? Okay, so basically when you use a rune arm, you get a button. You get a button called like rune arm use, and you're going to click it. It's like a feat. It's one of your granted feats here, I think. Where's the feats? Automatic feats. So if I go to rune arm or level 5. There we go. Artificer rune arm use. So this is a button that's on the keyboard. When you press it, your character will just start charging by default. And as long as you're charging, you can then press Alt to fire the rune arm. So you can change the key to whatever you want. But rune arm firing does not interrupt anything. You can fire while casting spells. You can fire while moving. You can fire while attacking. It is free. It's literally off of your global cooldown. You can do it anytime you want. So rebind it to something. I have it rebound to one of my mouse buttons, so I can just tap it constantly as I'm running around. You can fire the rune arm. Yeah, when you're crowd controlled, you can fire the rune arm, okay? So the recommendation I have for most people is when they're trying to figure out the rune arm, get a, go to the store, go to Best Buy, and buy a racing game. Buy like some racing game for your computer and get this whole setup. You get the steering wheel and everything else. Get the foot pedal and then use the foot pedal to stomp it down every time you need to cast your rune arm. That's my recommendation there. It makes it a lot easier on that one. So that's how you do this. Anyway, that's how I would do that. So what this change is going to do is I gave you a bunch of extra spell power that you didn't have before. So I don't know what your gear looks like, but now spell power, electric is 957, which is pretty sick, and your light is really high. I don't know what your light is doing, but yeah. No gear on? You have some gear on. You've got something going on here. A Fjarlin mirror cloak. What the crap? Don't use this. Oh my gosh, what is happening? 3 winter with a nocturne ring. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have to put this away. I'm sorry. Another problem is you can't heal yourself, which is really whack as an artificer. So if you wanted to be able to heal yourself with repair, you don't even get the good repair spell, so it doesn't matter. So healing is going to be an issue with this character, but you have cocoon, so it's going to be fine. And during the leveling process, obviously just use chains, double chain, and then do other stuff. You'll be fine. Just double chain, and then as opposed to casting most of the damage spells. So like, you know, spells. Probably here. Yeah, armor speed sucks. And I don't know where the cure critical admixture is, but yeah, throw that in there. Just use the admixtures. And then let's check this one out. So Draconic. So you got Electric, which is good. Arcane Studies, which is good. I like that. Attune the Arcane. I don't like that. You've got the Breath Weapon DCs, which is good. You got the Breath Weapons. You got Daunting Roar, which is good. You got the upgrade. My problem with this mantle is you can probably take the mantle out. Oh, you don't have the ruin, because there's no rune, greater ruin in here. You have way too many points in this tree. You can literally cut out all the mantle, and you still have the same tree. And then put those into another tree for a better mantle. Like, I mean, honestly, the Shadowdancer mantle is not that bad. Insane when it crit. True, yeah, it's not bad if you have the crit. If you have the ability to put that on yourself, like if your brain can track it, then it's not bad. Agree. There's almost no lightning resist monsters, so usually I would recommend this, but there's very few lightning resist monsters. Spell cooldown 10%. This is actually amazing. This is actually amazing. Actually amazing. You would think that this would be a bad ability, because what this says is your spell cooldown is reduced by 10%. You gain mobile spellcasting and have 30% enhancement bonus to movement speed. Movement speed, negligible. Mobile spellcasting, garbage. But your spell cooldown is reduced by 10%. Is that good? Normally, no. Look at your spells. This spell has like a cooldown of like 4 seconds. It doesn't matter. Chain Lightning, it's like a 2-second cooldown. But 3-minute cooldown on Radiant Force Field? It's 180 seconds. That gives you 18 seconds off of that cooldown. That's sick. So, oddly enough, 10% cooldown reduction is very good on Artificer. Because Radiant Force Field is very good. Yeah, it's a very big 10%. It's like 10% off. Yeah. The Dragon Burst is not bad in the Energy Burst. You'd obviously need to make some changes for the gear. I'm just looking at some of these other things. Shadowdancer, you've got the double strike. You've got the Technician. You've got the aggro. You got the... Why is there 15 points spent in this tree, though? Why am I spending 15 points here? What am I taking? You're taking that. You're taking this. The threat, you're not doing enough damage, so you don't need this at all. And you don't need that much threat. And it's still your 13. You get 2 back. I'm trying to think of where you can get more points. Because like if you take those 2 points back, the 30 mana and the threat, which you don't need. The reason why you don't need the threat is because your character just, like, this doesn't matter. I would rather pick up 20 more spell power, which is more damages. So that's better for 2 points. What other trees would be good here? Fate Singers are spells. Shadowdancer is not bad because the minus threat is good. Darkest Luck is good. Improved Evasion is of course good. All the damage is good. The spell power, you got the different sneak attack dice. The double strike is nice. Sharadi Mantle. Well, so here's the thing. So the reason why Sharadi Mantle is not as good here, this is entirely dependent on player skill. So if you suck at DDO, and that's right, yes, I am talking to you, you want to take the Sharadi Mantle. But if you don't suck at DDO, and I'm not in the category of I don't suck at DDO. I suck at DDO, okay? I can't do this. But offhand versatility has an effect where it says, if you have an orb or rune arm in your offhand, on Vorpal Strike, while single weapon fighting, for the next 5 seconds, all of your spells will automatically crit. What this means is that as long as you have this rune arm, when you get that Vorpal, a little icon is going to pop up, And you're going to get a buff that has no visual. So you need to be paying hella attention to the top left corner of your screen when your buffs are showing, or just actually watching it as it comes up. Auto crits on all your spells. So once this happens, that's when you immediately, boom, hit the blue dragon breath with the energy burst. It's a guaranteed crit. Tactical detonation, guaranteed crit. Chain lightning, guaranteed crit. And the mantle effect. On a boss, this means you're going to get 6 hits of 6d6 on a monster. Or 5 hits? Yeah, 5 hits. Of 6d6, or a d6 plus 6 damage per caster level. That's huge. Also, you might notice something of your elemental damage of your mantle. Well, I made a slight adjustment to the tree. +2 to the cast level and max cast level of all electric spells. Well, wouldn't you know, this happens to work. That's right. So you actually do get the +2 cast level, and this does affect the energy burst. So you've got a lot of energy bursting here. So you've got 2 extra cast levels on this, and on this base effect, or on the dragon breath as well. So yeah, it's going to be really strong. You got to pay attention. But tank shroud, the first time you specifically should mind keeping the mechanics of tank mechanics. I don't know. Everything hits really hard. Just keep that in mind. If you think you're tanky, you're probably going to die. Lithe is obviously really good. Also, I noticed your character did not take intelligence to reflex saves as a feat. I'm not saying you have to, and I would probably take it over precision if I'm being honest. Precision kind of fucking blows. In this build. So I would probably take insightful reflexes here. The reason why I say in precision is not that good is you might think that like the crit is going to be really important, but here's the thing: your spell damage is way more impactful than your crits are. Like with gear, like this is no items electric spell power. So with items, this character is going to easily be hitting spell powers of like the 1200, and you're basically just using your melee as a vector for Scion of the Plane of Air damage, as well as a little bit of physical. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much, especially considering like this gear set obviously doesn't work because this is Alchemist, but there's some stuff in here you could probably make a change. You could like part of the family it or do something else. I don't know. Oh, the gem of many facets. Do you have your Kenneth crafting leveled up? 70 int saving throws. No fail. You can get some more saves for this. You don't get intelligence to everything. All max? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because it's a crafting weekend, for those of you that don't know, there's bonus crafting XP right now, which is kind of sick. So overall, it's an interesting character. Probably not the way that I would do this, but remember, you have the chains. So important thing about this character is even if you're like worried that, let me just go physical, obviously not looking at the gear, offensive, you might be like, oh, well, the fortification bypass is 0%. 1, you can change this with just a few items. It's not that hard. And 2, you don't care that the fortification exists on monsters because Vorpal doesn't matter. If you use chain in a pack, you get the Vorpal automatically, and then you energy burst. You literally chain energy burst, and you'll wipe out a whole room on R10. Okay? You will literally wipe out a whole room on R10 if you just chains energy burst them. It's gross. If you're a pure artificer, this would be even more fun because you would have the capstone with the extra intelligence, and you'd have more spells you could cast, because you could then go throw down the Arcane Tempest on top of that as well, and you would probably drop pretty much all of the Vistani knife fighting if you went pure, where you just have the extra dodge here, but you got the displacement, you just keep the spike chain attack, you'd pretty much drop the Vistani, except for like some of the defenses and maybe the haste boost, and you don't even use the attacks as like physical damage. And you put points into Battle Engineer to get the, where is it here? The construct, not the construct tracking, not Battle Engineer, sorry. You grab this here and you grab more intelligence, just like boom, boom, grabbing more stats, and you blow everybody up, but yeah. But again, you have to like this playstyle, because the physical damage is not going to be a main portion, but it will be nice to have for sure. You got the extra W here. All right. Yeah, this looks good. I like this character build. You did a good job putting this one together, and it looks interesting. And again, you might be scoffing at the crit. Like, why don't you take the crit? Because the point is you crit every time with this. The whole point is you literally crit every time. So you don't need the crit out of here. Plus, also, these numbers are terribly low. Also, another thing that's important to note is that this character gets such a high cost reduction on your maximize and your empower. They're basically free. Oh, and I forgot to mention, of course, this is important. Because you're melee. So because you're melee, you also always have Arcane Warrior. Is that physical? Wait, magical or physical? Yeah, you always have this at max. Just keep that in mind. This is always going to be like this.